Hello and welcome in from wherever you join us across time and space. It is Sunday evening here for our collective week ahead card pulls. And I say wherever and whatever time it is because many of us have just experienced the daylight savings clock adjustment overnight. And so I don't know what time it is, but I will say that I was thrilled with the extra daylight this evening. It really did give all the spring vibes. So I've got that going for me because I've also been a bit under the weather. So I am working on upgrading and up-leveling over here. So I apologize for the voice and any sniffly disruptions here, but wanted to tune in for this next week ahead as we march to the beat with the messages coming through these beautiful decks we're tuning into this month, the Gentle Tarot, the Song of the Grandmothers, and I'm going to start weaving in some of the other fun decks. There's so much going on this time of year. I'm going to have a lot of things unfolding here as we move into the month because Equinox is coming up before we know it. It will officially be spring or autumn, depending on where you are in the world. And I can't wait to get the Equinox altar set. I'm going to be sharing again about those special seasonal readings that I offer. I already have a few of you booked. So for anyone else who would like to get in ahead of me launching those, I do them in the order that they're received, but it's a wonderful way for you to check in with the season turning. We look back at the previous season, we dig down into the dirt here of the incoming season to see what is blooming for you in the season ahead. So with that said, let me bring in a little. I've been feeling the Jade Higher Heart. I was bringing that in to help support me this weekend. So I'd like to bring that in for all of you as well. Beautiful aura energy coming in on the Jade Ray, but also helping with physical ick. So I'm going to let that come in here for us and bring in some of that beautiful higher heart energy, that bridge between the upper and lower chakras, connecting us as above, so below. There has been so many spiritual breadcrumbs coming in and messages formulating. So I am looking forward to kind of sifting through those this week and sharing as I'm able to. I hope if you checked out the International Women's Day messages that I shared on the Sharecast here on Marco Polo, as well as on my social media spaces. If you missed that, you can check the link to that. It's just a fun little throwback card pull from the Housewives Tarot that has a little tongue-in-cheek for some guidance on what's clearing and cleansing for you in order to step into the new season and the new you as you are up leveling and marching to the beat. So with that said, what I'd like to do actually is bring in a card that we will explore this week before we get started on our spread. This is the Melodic Tarot. Let me make sure I get it right because it is a super fun, amazing deck, and you have to see this too. So it's almost ridiculous that I've never shared this deck before here. I've been sitting on it for a while. It's a beautiful, very fun deck from Tarot Collectibles, and it is called the Melodic Moods Tarot. So this is a tarot deck that is filled with all kinds of musical legends and brilliantly weaves together many of those iconic singers, specifically from the 60s and 70s. So this is going to be a play on our March to the Beat this month, and me kind of circling back to my old tarot tunes. So this is going to be a melodic mood card pull that this week I will share a song and message that comes through from the artist or group that is highlighted in whatever card comes up. And just to give you a little sneak peek, it is just so fun. There's a lot of icons in here. And yes, from a specific era, 60s and 70s. So we will explore that here and there as I weave them in. So many unbelievable legends in here. So let me just shuffle up for a moment here and pull out the artist that and the tarot energy, because they will be represented on a specific tarot card that we will tune into this week for some melodic mood messages. So let's see. One card to bring in an artist and to be determined song and message that will come forward. So let us see who wants to come out and play this week. Definitely have a good amount of cosmic weather to share as well for this week. So we'll be talking about that, how the energies will also be rolling through. This is the end, the 10 of Swords. Okay, so we are closing out, finishing out something here with an artist, bringing in This Is the End. And I'm not sure who that is, 60s and 70s fan that I am. Let me take a quick peek for us. I have the beautiful guidebook that came with here, so I'm going to take a look and see who we have. That 10 of Swords. Oh my gosh. I mean, of course it's Jim Morrison. I'm sorry, Jim. Been talking about him. And he is featured in this deck multiple times. That's why I wasn't thinking of the Doors song, This Is the End. And I mean, obvious now, the belt, all the things. Okay. Ha ha ha. I'm still a little fuzzy and foggy in the head. So we're going to discover what Jim is bringing in this week with This Is the End and the energy of the 10 of Swords as we go. So let's see what tarot cards want to come forward through the Gentle Tarot. We'll have our bonus oracle message at the end with the Song of the Grandmothers, and we'll see what's coming up. So let's tap in here and do our 5-card spread for the week ahead. This is where we tap into the collective, and I thank you each for bringing your energy here, where we set the intention to connect in with our highest selves, with Team Spirit. We want to access the guidance, insight, and wisdom available to us from the highest available perspective, frequencies, and timelines, as we get a wink there from more lightning rods. My goodness, there's been so much lightning and thunder references coming up as well. Stormy. Oh, there's that beautiful death card we had last week with the hermit crabs. Yeah, there was a lot of resonance last week with the energies of transformation, change, and the release that was called for, is called for. Once again, this is the end. He reiterated. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't realize that was Jim. Okay. So, what's coming up starting with Monday? So these messages are for the collective, where you are invited to take what resonates, leave the rest. That's how it works with a collective reading. There's always someone else there to pick it up. That being said, it's always so cool to hear from you in the wild ways that these energies, in fact, do pop in. Yes, what is better than the sun coming after the 10 of Swords energy? So this is setting the tone for the week ahead with one of, if not the most positive cards of the tarot, the sun. And yes, it is a welcome return of the sun with the extended daylight hours that are occurring for those of us who have had the time change, and just naturally, if we were to just let nature do its thing, that would naturally be occurring as we get closer to equinox as well. Here in the Northern Hemisphere. So the sun, amazing to be coming in here for us, kicking off this week. Let us see what's coming up next with Tuesday's energy, which is the potential block or challenge. the potential block or challenge this week to be aware of. Let's see. Take that one. Ooh, the Lovers. Okay, major. So two significant energies coming in, and look at the interesting. So this is kind of showing us the two phases, the two sides of, I suppose, the moon energy as the sun is here. But this is card 6 of the major arcana that we have coming in here through the Lovers, representing choice and the energies of bringing heaven to earth. So it is about what we're anchoring in terms of creating that balance, healing, and harmony in our relationships with you decide, right? This can be highlighting, yes, your personal relationships, business relationships, dynamics. Yes, it can have a romantic aspect to it, but really, it's representing some type of choice point for you in where that energy is going and how you are creating greater balance. And again, this being a challenge could be highlighting for us some areas where some of those choices are being called for. And the relationship could be between you and aspects of yourself, you and your relationship with things like time, like, different goals or things that you have that you are looking to restore or bring in greater balance and harmony in your life. So also, of course, divine masculine, feminine, yin, yang, like there's all different ways that energy can show up as well. We'll see what comes in around it to get a better sense of, some of the areas that could be highlighted there. And of course, along with the astrological weather that's rolling through this week, those things are all going to impact, how you may see these energies showing up for you this week. Wednesday is going to be our midweek blessing. A midweek blessing coming in here for us. 5 of Cups. So yeah, this is the end. There's something ending, there's a loss, there's a leaving, and through that process, there is an observance of that comes in with the 5 of Cups. And 5 is a number of change and transition. And, one thing is going, on the other side, something new is coming. And there's a lot of this energy of the space we create when we cleanse and clear and release and shed and forgive. And that includes shedding tears, literal cleansing of emotions that can come through a number of ways. And I would include with that, physical upgrades that come through things like illness and ailments and dis-ease in the body as well, that we could be flushing out, releasing. We've had a lot of things going on here that took me into the upwards of 4 o'clock in the morning with one of my kiddos. And, there was a bowl and holding of hair and towels involved. So, the ways in which I think that abruptly brings to our attention how good it is to feel good, and how when we are in maybe heavier times or less energetically light times, that we develop an instant appreciation for those lighter and brighter times. So I'm feeling a little nod there too. So we'll explore the blessing in that 5 of Cups. Yeah, it depends on what you're releasing and shedding and bringing up and out. But it was one of those kind of weekends here, if you know what I mean. Okay, Thursday. How are we growing? How are we growing through all of this? How are we growing? Thursday's energy is bringing in, Ace of Stones, Ace of Pentacles. So there is, again, something tangible, physical coming in here in the way of an offering or something arriving that is of tangible substance, money, safety, security. This is bringing us into the root chakra, into the base. and feeling into our resources and, things that are being made available to us to support us that we can build on. So that is a beautiful energy, and it brings with it that one frequency of a new beginning, of a new phase, of a new beginning in the realm of the physical for us. So there is this shedding and releasing that I think many of us might be feeling on a physical level, one way or another. And even if it is an increase in energy and motivation, or feeling that, for so many people that are experiencing a very welcomed shift in the weather, for some warmer days, brighter days, and just the impact that has on anyone. But many of us are impacted significantly by long periods of dark or lack of sun and cold. And I am one of those people. So as you may know, if you've been around, this Leo never misses a moment to mention how I love the sun and miss the sun when it is the winter time here. So nonetheless, we can embrace each stage, and with that, turn over the soil to create new beginnings, new opportunities to seed something. Leveling up. Okay. Final tarot card coming in this week is going to be the Friday energy, which wraps up the week for us. And like I said, I know that there's a number of aspects for me to share, so we'll start to connect the dots on exactly when some of those things are taking place this week and how that's lining up with these cards that have come in. Let's see what that final card is for Friday. Root of Wands. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Wands, the Knight of Fire energy coming in here. Now, I have seen the Knight of Wands hanging around, not only in some people's personal readings, but it is an energy that's been coming up because it is bringing that fire and that sort of, come on, baby, light my fire. Yes, this is how Jim was coming up. This is what I'm saying. I was literally talking about him and identifying he's in at least 3 cards in this deck. So, yeah. And of course the Lizard King. So the wands, there are lizards in the wand suit in the court cards, namely the King of Wands. This is the Knight, the root. So in this deck, brilliantly called the Root of Wands. So there is this action that's starting as we come on, baby, light my fire, right? That we're bringing that energy in. Another thing that's super cool about this deck that you don't always see is the court cards are numbered. So you don't always see that it continues through past the 10. The 10 is the final numbered card in a traditional minor arcana suit. But in this deck, the Page, which is the seed, the Knight, which is the root, the Queen, and the King. And I have not seen, have I had a Queen yet? I'm just double checking to see what she's called because I don't want to misspeak. The Queen is the flower. Yes, of course. So after the root comes the flower, and after the flower comes the harvest. So in this deck, they are numbered 11, 12, 13, and 14 for those 4 court cards. So this is giving us an energy of 12, which is a 3 in numerology, the 1 and the 2, which is bringing in creativity, creation, co-creation, collaboration, right? So there is this interesting, in the challenge of the connection through relationship and the root of the wands, the fire, the sparks, the passion, our work, our sparks of our things that we wish to create in the world and what we want to birth as we get ever closer to this turning of the wheel and the new season that's coming in. So look forward to checking out the messages coming in through the beautiful Gentle Tarot for these cards. Let's pull our final card, which is going to bring in a message from the Song of the Grandmothers to punctuate the energies this week, to put a little end cap on it. So let us see what's coming in here. Okay. Card from the Song of the Grandmothers. Here we go. Ooh, Grandmother Moon, bringing in unity. Elusive, constant, always moving through phases, never less than whole. Yeah, so many beautiful references to the moon about it's only a phase, or, that no matter what we see of the moon, she's always whole. It's just the different phases of what meets the eye, of what we're able to see. However, she is always whole, right? So that's a beautiful reference to bringing in all the parts, the sum of all the parts as unity. So we'll take a look and see what Grandmother Moon has to offer us this week in the way of wisdom when we get to the end of our intuitive messages this week. And as I said, this is the end, which precipitates a new beginning. We will be tuning in this week on the Empowerment Sharecast to see what message Jim and the Doors have to bring through for us via the Ten of Swords, and in light of the messages and energies that we are moving through as a collective this week. So stay tuned for that. If you're not on the Empowerment Sharecast, there will be a link below where you are watching this with that link, or you can always just give me a shout. It is my free space tucked away from the noise of social media over on the free Marco Polo app. And so that is where we're able to do some extra connecting over there. That's where I offer the free personal card pulls. So also, if you would like a personal card pull this week, you can let me know in whatever way works for you. And I will be sharing those messages with you via a private video on Marco Polo as we move into the week. So with all that said, let me get a sip of my water and come back on here for our energetic weather this week and tune in and see what's rolling through the cosmos. All right, let's check it out. All right, let's get into some of the energetic weather that's rolling through this week. And, let's just roll out the Jim Morrison Doors references like Riders on the Storm. I just realized as I was mentioning all of the lightning and thunder references that have been coming up often. But this one is going to hone in on the energetic weather, where here and now on Sunday evening, poised to step into this next week in March. It is March 8th. It is International Women's Day. And we have, quite appropriately, Venus conjunct Saturn. So this one asks, what would it feel like to find the discipline and patience to turn your desires into reality? So this energy can help you to do just that. With both heart-centered Venus and taskmaster Saturn unifying in Aries for the first time since 1999, we're headed into a chapter where responsible action will take you further than just daydreaming. So we really are bringing it into tangible steps, right? Taking those simple tasks one at a time to create that forward moving momentum. And now this energy can be a little bit of a bubble burst after experiencing the anything goes energy with Pisces. So while that may pull at your heartstrings a bit, anyone in a long-term relationship will tell you it takes real work to make it stick. So you can use that energy across all things you choose to be in a relationship. What is that? The Lover's card coming in for Tuesday as a potential block or challenge. And if you just listened to our card pulls, we talked about all those things, about relationships, about the choice to bring greater balance and harmony to it, but also anchoring it into earth in a physical way. So there we have it. And, it isn't just as simple as that. And yet it is. But, that is wherein lies perhaps our potential block or challenge this week. So we'll explore that and see what's coming up there through emotional connections, having an opportunity to kind of grow through consistency and showing up when it matters. Now, Monday kicks us off March 9th with Mercury trine Jupiter. Now, this is number 2 of 3 of their meeting. So heads up, get ready for some profound truths to bubble to the surface as introspective Mercury in retrograde forms its second tender trine this year with expansive Jupiter. So 2 out of 3. For the second time this year, coming in with both planets in emotionally potent water signs. Mercury's in Pisces, Jupiter is in Cancer. So that's going to be challenging to logically process all the emotions swirling around you. Enter in that 5 of Cups. I love how it always comes together. So this energy also makes you prone to saying the quiet part out loud, like it just drops from the head and comes out the mouth, and sharing words that you might regret later on. So perhaps fixing that filter into place where we just take a beat with that before it comes out. But with Venus and Saturn still feeding all those internal flames, as we just touched on, you may find it difficult to quiet your mind once these feelings begin to surface. So yeah, Jupiter is shining that expansive light on Mercury. And so that brings us into the thoughts and the mental movement. And then of course the communication in that as well. So just to be aware of that energy coming into town, along with, just conversations could be feeling more positive and encouraging, maybe even getting some good news or a prosperous opportunity simply by talking to the right person. Hello, Ace of Pentacles that we talked about down there. So we've got that coming in for Thursday's How Are We Growing, which of course is the Jupiter day, Thursday. So that's feeling good. That's feeling like there is some potential there for getting in touch with the right people, meetings, casual chats that could lead to something far greater than you expected this week. People might be seeming more open and supportive. So, you might start thinking beyond your current situation. This is what I mean. When the sun comes out again, when we start to feel like what's coming in as possibility, then we can start to feel like we're coming online in a way where we might want to start to think about and then share about those ideas with some confidence and attracting in support. So just, kind of towing that line with discernment between using that little filter before we say just any old thing that pops in the mind, but also with those things that you've been sitting with and thinking about and wanting to create, or perhaps, planting some seeds. It might be time to move it to the next level, to share, especially in some of those synchronistic meetings and connections that come forward. So just, staying curious, allowing simple conversations to turn into meaningful opportunities. So that's going to be an exciting one to watch there as well. Now, March 10th, we have Jupiter retrograde ending. All right. So some forward moving momentum here. So if you've been feeling like your emotions have been all over the place lately, well, I mean, it is Pisces season, right? And we're coming out of eclipse season. There's just been so much going on to move all of that energy and bring it up to the surface. That's totally okay. Get ready, though, to let some of those pent up feelings and those ups and downs out. Again, this is why the 5 of Cups is a blessing this week, because it is about releasing of emotions. Like I said, tears, actual tears flowing. And also I'm getting like sweat, sweating it out. So whether we're talking about exercise, moving your body, or even like something like sauna, or a hot steam shower or bath or something that helps to cleanse and clear the waters, the emotion through the body. Definitely feeling a little ping there with that blessing of the 5 of Cups. So with that, we have, with Jupiter stationing, direct, and those pent up feelings coming out. This is where, this has been a while coming, because since November 11th, expansive Jupiter that amplifies whatever it touches has been backtracking through emotional Cancer. So that's where we've been getting it from all angles. But the tide is changing. After 4 months, let's be real, we probably need to just let out a good primal scream, an ugly cry, or an extra therapy session. But honestly, just do it all, because the release will be worth it. Yes, I love that. I love that that's coming forward with that 5 of Cups. And it is a blessing. And it is something that creates movement on the other side, even though it can be a little sticky and crunchy getting there, right? And I'm talking about, you've already come all this way. We're talking about the last 4 months. So we're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing the sun come out. We're seeing the rainbow on the other side, and which is literally coming from the other side of that 5 of Cups. We have that Ace of Pentacles with the rainbow and the solid offer of something that's coming in. So starting on March 10th, you will feel like matters close to your heart are moving forward again. And those muddled decisions about home and family will finally start to flow again. Beautiful. Also on the 10th, Venus sextile Pluto. So here emotions are highlighted where they might be feeling deeper, and that can strengthen close relationships. It can bring about honest conversations about emotions and deep feelings and real intimacy and connection. So instead of just surface talk, you find yourself discussing things that truly matter. Attraction feels strong, creating powerful chemistry. In money matters, you might discover a hidden opportunity. I love this with that Ace of Pentacles. A hidden opportunity, or plan something more strategically. Yeah, wow. This is a good time to address old relationship issues directly and clear the air. So when you choose honesty over avoidance, trust builds. Relationships grow stronger when people share power more equally. Now you see, that sounds great, but we know that in practice that can be more challenging. So there is our relationship card coming in this week as the Lovers for Tuesday's Potential Blocker Challenge. So we'll feel into that for sure. Now we've got on the 11th, we just covered Jupiter retrograde ending. Then we move on to the 13th as our final aspect for the week. Mars conjunct the North Node. So, ready to break through your own limitations? Question mark. Well, today, action-packed Mars will meet up with the North Node of Destiny in Pisces. So this is an ultra rare conjunction that pushes you toward dreams, even if they defy logic. There's no step-by-step IKEA instructions here. This is all about getting quiet and tuning into your own inner North Star. You contain the dream, so why would you outsource how to build it? Wow, that's really powerful. It's funny because I came across an old meme of mine that I shared in my stories that was about taking advice from people who've never been where you want to go, and just kind of bringing that into our awareness when we've been putting a lot of stock and value in perhaps the opinions and perspectives of people who aren't in the frequency that we're looking to level up to, and how that's a little bit of a vibe check for us to say, why am I putting so much stock outside of myself when I'm the one that has the dream and the blueprints for the dream? So along with that, you might experience an unexpected surge of bravery today, or feel drawn toward a completely unplanned path. Now, when discomfort bubbles up, you can see that as a positive sign that you're pushing past your personal boundaries. So don't retreat, right? Keep going. It's okay to get a little bit uncomfortable in order to find your groove. So I love that coming in as well. And like I said, we've got our root of Wands for that day, for Friday, to close it out, bringing some fire. So we'll talk about that as well when we get into the intuitive messages. Let's take one peek at our melodic moods artist before we move on and get into our intuitive messages.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
So we come in here with our first melodic moods card pull. Came through as the Ten of Swords, featuring none other than Jim Morrison and the Doors song, The End. So I wanted to show you from this super cool guide book. It's a PDF document, which is why I couldn't show you the book when we were doing the card pulls, but I wanted to share with you the message that came through here with that Ten of Swords so that we can see how we can begin to pull through our message for this week when it comes to how it's being inspired by this song. And I will be diving into the lyrics and other symbolism coming through from that point of view. But what this is sharing for us is, at its heart, this is said to be a breakup song about Morrison's then ex-girlfriend, which eventually evolved over time into a much lengthier song, which I believe was often what they would close out their shows with. But this is speaking to Jim Morrison, aka the Lizard King, or Mr. Mojo Rising, which was an anagram of his surname, is often regarded as one of the most influential frontmen in rock history. As much a poet as he was a singer, his lyrics range from experiences of hallucinogenic states in songs like Universal Mind and the Ghost Song, to songs dealing with relationships and love like Love Street and LA Woman. It's given us a little trivia here about Iggy Pop's Passenger being said to be inspired by one of Morrison's poems, though according to Pop, in an interview with The Guardian, the song was partly inspired by traveling with David Bowie on tour when Pop didn't have a car or driver's license. Little fun fact for you there. So, as I say, I do already feel the energies of the Ten of Swords setting the tone with a song with the name, literally, this is the end, which is the message of the Ten of Swords, is something is ending, something is done. Done. You know, and I often say the difference between the Tower showing some type of sudden ending or abrupt collapse of something, and then the Ten of Swords with the, as I often say, stick a fork in me, I'm done, that the Tower can be rebuilt again, right? We can rebuild anew, afresh, with a new reinforced foundation, or, you know, in some way it needed to crumble in order to create space for something new coming through that will be surely built. In the Ten of Swords, that's it. Capiche, right? That's it. We're done. So as we're done with something, an absolute new beginning comes on the other side. And that's what we're exploring here as we move into our energies from the tarot this week. What is coming forward in the way of finishing out what is ending while the sun still rises, right? And on a new dawn on the horizon, and setting us forward with new opportunities to seed and root into that potential. So let's get into that now. Do stay tuned over on the Empowerment Sharecast this week for more from Jim Morrison and the Doors as our musical melodic mood inspiration for this week ahead. All right, let's get started with Monday's message, which is amazing. Oh my gosh, what better way to start a Monday than the sun coming out? We have the energy of the beautiful sun in the major arcana. So we bring that in here and set that forward so that we can shine a light on a theme that we are stepping into this week. And it's bringing in radiant vitality and lucid clarity from the Gentle Tarot. There is no challenge too daunting. And here she says, I'm drawing in everything needed to actualize my desires because I am infinite. I both feel and understand the inherent goodness of the world. It warms me up like the sun on my face. Life-giving source of endless energy, the sun makes all the wildflowers grow, as it also helps you grow. Soak in the vigor and dance in it. The two women here can be two separate people or a reflection of you with yourself. I love that. And that is really in alignment with energy that I've been tuning into around sort of flipping things in a way that's sort of like a reversal or a mirror image, or in some way we see this duplicate of either the same woman or a reflection of two different women connected here under the rays of the sun. So this is really an energizing card, and it's bringing through a clear sign that the time is right. You have everything you need, Earth Child. Rein it in and let yourself flow into greatness. That is beautiful. And I love that energy starting us off. And because we've been tuning into the indigo with the light in the dark, I brought in that indigo energy that I was talking about, that I have messages that have been coming in on repeat, building on that indigo ray, the light in the dark, right? And that's matching the beautiful indigo borders of this major arcana energy starting our week. But on the other side, and what works with this midnight indigo energy is the sunrise new dawn, because the sun will rise again. And in this case, maybe a little earlier than we were used to, if you've just experienced the time change as I have. So the sun rises and the sun sets, of course, but we're getting an extended period, many of us, depending on where you are in the world, of that sun as the return of the light is coming in with daylight savings and bringing in this beautiful mirror image, which is also going to be reflected in our Tuesday's major arcana potential block or challenge. So let's bring that into the hot seat here with these two complementary energies. All right, Tuesday is our potential block or challenge, and our second of two major arcana cards this week, definitely amplifying the indigo ray. And as I mentioned, this one being the sun, this one being the moon. So we're going to talk about that as well as we bring that in here between those energies anchoring us. The Lovers, a half moon, half light, complementary to the feminine darkness. It's a card of harmonizing opposites, of love and relationships, of examining personal beliefs and living in alignment with your values. The Lovers asks us if we are living in our truth. It asks if we are committed to cultivating greater harmony within and without. This card points to how we relate. Now, relationships are multifaceted. Of course, they can be intimate relationships of a romantic nature, intellectually stimulating, spiritually supportive, or all or none of these things. The relationship that we examine here with the Lovers can be a relationship with someone else, with a group, with ideas, or with ourselves. Attraction is one of the strongest energies we experience. Navigating feelings of attraction is like walking through the many potent pathways of the unseen. The draw that you may feel may come into being before you even did. So where will you take this energy? Be open to new connections in your life. Allow them to flow and see where you go. I love that in light of the astrological weather that we were talking about, with the potential for some synchronistic meetings and connections and communications and opportunities that could be coming about this week. and, starting something new, opening ourselves up to try something new, and like I said, and, it's fine here in the nest of Marco Polo, but as I share this more widely in some of my social media spaces, some of the in the buff nature of these beautiful cards may be a bit taboo, as well as sharing like licensed music and things. So that's why I tread lightly, but want to point out that they are, in fact, in the buff, as traditionally they are in the Lover's card, that there's a vulnerability to that, as much as an authenticity of bearing it all, right? And so I do tune into that energy as well as, making yourself vulnerable and maybe feeling fragile, but in and of itself is a challenge. It's something that is definitely stepping out of our comfort zone, which is bringing us into some of that energetic weather that we were just talking about. So making a choice that I am going to follow the law of attraction. Now, that does not mean that we just knee-jerk react to every little impulse, right? Because we're talking about creating that greater balance and harmony in that. But we're really being honest with ourselves about how it feels in the body first. Oftentimes, the first place that we feel the twinge, the spark, the sense of desire for a relationship with someone or something or an aspect of ourself that is wanting to come forward. So, this is something that we'll continue to build on, but it is showing duality. This is associated with the sign of Gemini. And of course, it's identifying for us the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, right? So we're talking about bringing in that beautiful balance, and you can just see how it's playing out here for us. And of course, it'll all wind into our final message that'll come forward from Grandmother Moon. So let's go ahead and move into that midweek blessing that is often a card that we might kind of poo-poo, but I'm really feeling its energies this week. So let's explore that. All right, Wednesday is our midweek blessing. And it's bringing in the 5 of Cups, right? So this is the element of water, of flow, of feels, and specifically with that frequency of 5, which brings about a bit of tumultuous energy. It says, I acknowledge my pain. I thank it for the lessons of love and forgiveness that it brings to me. Sorrow, regret, and loss are not feelings that process quickly. They can take days, years, lifetimes. All suffering comes from grasping. Be easy on yourself. Go where you need to go to really feel and acknowledge your wounds. Then breathe and surrender. Know that you have done the best that you could, and that is enough. Forgive yourself. Be gentle with your heart. There are no mistakes in life. Even events that hurt have a purpose and an opportunity to show us more about ourselves. Painful experiences are potent because they are the bearers of change. If we can listen, we will hear the whispers of loving kindness amidst the throbs of an aching heart. In this card, the guidance is represented by the dancing aurora borealis shining above the night sky and reflected below on the water. You are infinitely supported by the elements, by the universe, and by your own strong spirit. This card asks you to open yourself to the gifts of life. Don't cry over spilt cups. There are blessings for you, even here. Wow. That is so beautiful. This is our card for a midweek blessing. And indeed, there are blessings in the midst of great loss, of things that are quite painful and difficult and all of it. I'll often say about those cups, there is no getting the contents back in, or perhaps our cups were never filled with something that was not to be for us. And we're moving through the emotions of that. But also, there are 2 upright cups here. that do have blessings and abundance within them. And so we're shrouded here in this energy of allowing that to cover over us in order for us to shed that cloak, to release it, to thank it. Thank it with love, with gratitude for all that it has seeded, all that it has made possible for the new that is growing within us. And if you can see that there's 2 flowers growing here as well. So we've got 2 full cups and 2 beautiful blooms all coming forward here with the aurora borealis reflecting again, as above, so below, even through the loss. We see that reflection coming through even just a sliver of light. So allow a 5 to 5, right? A 5 brings that transition, the chaos and confusion of change, and also a turning point. So as we move through the end, as we know that there's so much that's moving and changing and shifting in our inner and outer worlds, be gentle with yourself. Take time. And as I said in the energetic weather, really getting a nod to letting yourself flow, whether it talks about, and we can't make this up, just now what has tuned in on the music I have playing says the path of water. It says, where everything falls into pieces, when the water clears, the step between shores, where the water stays. Now, the song 5, by the way, since we're tuning into the number 5, is when the water looks upward. Because you see, their gaze is downward. It is what has gone. It is what is lost. There's a heavy feeling here. And the energy that's coming in so synchronistically on a new playlist that just happened to pop up just now and got my attention is the Path of Water. It's a Lakota sacred water chant. There's 7 of them. Number 5, when the water looks upward. 6, the clear movement. And 7, what remains. And indeed, when you allow the release and the flow and the shedding and all of that to come through, there will be that which remains. And from there we build. From there we receive the seed, which is what's coming in with Thursday's energy for how we are growing. Wow, that's really beautifully synchronistic with that music coming on. I'll share that. I'll provide a little link here to the songs that are playing and just came up here in case you would like to explore that. All right, I'll share that and then we will roll into Thursday. All right, let's come in here for Thursday. I'm listening to this soundtrack and it's just so on point. So do check that out if you feel inclined. If you're here on the Sharecast, I just shared the link. If you're listening in my social media spaces, check the caption below. All right, Thursday is how are we growing? And again, quite synchronistically, Virgo eclipse last week wants us to stop saying perfect. It's not perfect, but it is quite on point with the Ace of Stones. So, Ace of Stones, Ace of Pentacles, is handing you an opportunity, more security, more trust, more abundance. The world is at your fingertips. And it's bringing in time for concrete plans and a bit of structure to realize your desires. The power of the ace is in the potential. It's the beginning. It's novel, right? It's just like freshly fallen snow or, newly raked earth that we're getting ready to plant, right? We've just turned over the soil. We've aerated everything and combed through it to now place those seeds of potential. So that power comes in where whatever is growing here has been gaining momentum behind the scenes for some time. So it's ready to be made real in the material world. And it could be something that you've already put energy towards, or it might be the workings of the subconscious to prepare you for a bigger step. But either way, the Ace of Stones is a clear sign that good things are coming for you in the material realm, the realm of manifestation. Will you take the opportunity? So much of the medicine of the ace is in the yes. So when we allow ourselves to receive. And, we were just talking about, what we cling to, what we're holding on to. We can't pick up anything new. I can't receive the literal world that's in that hand if I'm closed off, if I'm gripping tightly, if I'm trying to hold on to something that's leaving. It's as if, I crouch down on the ground and I try to grab up that spilled milk. And so there is this sense of truly allowing it to go and flow, because we are reminded whatever is meant for me will never pass me by. So I can just cross that worry off of my list. I got 99 problems, but that is not one, right? Because if it's meant for me, it's going to come back. So I can let that go, and I can open up to receive with my yes. So what has been incubating inside of you that is ready to manifest? What are your desires? What project needs birthing? What changes are you ready to affect on the world, society, community, household, or around you? You are the creator of your story. Your energy contributes to the wellness of the world. Your voice is valid. Your soul is worthy. What beautiful, empowering messages. I think that just speaks for itself. We are growing in the knowing that some of this old stuff has got to go. This isn't working, right? Opening up through the release and the shedding that has taken place, because this is the end of that old mentality of lack, of martyrdom, of victimhood, of the gray cloud that follows us around, the stories that we have on repeat, right? So it's time to turn the page, to write a new chapter, maybe a whole new book, right? So because some of these changes could be pretty big, and it is not to make light of what it is to, again, make yourself vulnerable and put yourself out there in the buff, right? And make a new choice. Move in an aligned direction. Follow that frequency and flow that you can tap into when you slow and still yourself and open up to receive. So let that growth come through you now. With that fire starting to get going, let's take a look at that final tarot energy for the week, our Root of Wands. All right, our final card coming in for Friday to wrap it all up. I had to take a sec to check how to say this guy's name. You may already know. He is an ermine, E-R-M-I-N-E, little mammal. We're going to talk about him as our Root of Wands to finish out our week. This feisty ermine, with his passion and charisma, can be irresistible at times. However, he can also be a little too sure of himself. The Root of Wands is a confident, energetic, and full of life. Could you benefit from some of this ermine's energy at the moment? This is a glint of power and a call to be bold. If you have been feeling stuck, take a risk. If you have been working too hard, give yourself a healthy break. If you have been sluggish, treat yourself to some fresh air. Have some fun and mix things up. Or is your over self-assurance causing harm? The Root of Wands may be asking you to take a small step back so that you can listen to the energies around you, turn in, and tune up. So yeah, this is bringing the fire to say, what is it that you are passionate about, or that maybe you're starting to feel, that those rumblings or the spark within of, energies and confidence even. Maybe you are feeling a little more emboldened, and that's fantastic if you are. That's the energy we're talking about, to step out there vulnerably and authentically. But we're talking about making some kind of a new move or something that shifts the energy that you've been in. Because if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? So if we're in more of the same, rinse, repeat, then we are going to continue to create for ourselves the same or similar experiences. So it is encouraging us to take that spark and step out in perhaps a whole new way. But then we also have this energy of, hey, if you've kind of gotten ahead of yourself a little bit and maybe a little overly self-assured and find yourself get a little burnt from that, then maybe need to take a step back and tune in. Again, we want to connect in with that highest self, not our ego self, not a self who is maybe in a space of, lower vibrational desires, because then we can make anything sound good from there, right? That brings in the opposite of our challenge with the lovers, which is devil energy. And we talked about that last week. We talked about the devil bringing in temptation and vices and falling into old, comfortable, familiar patterns and routines, things we could do with our eyes closed, walking backwards, right? But that again is ending, right? This is the end. There's a breakup there, and there's an opportunity for us to step out in a whole new way. So if you found yourself overly pouring energy into something like that, that's leaving you feeling frazzled, fried, depleted in some way, there's guidance then to step back, listen into those energies from the highest available frequency, connecting in with your higher self, and then tune in and tune up, right? So again, if you have something specific going on, it's going to be different for all of us, and you would like a personal card pull this week, please do reach out. You can let me know specifically what you'd like to explore, and I will be in touch this week with a card to build on these messages just for you. Also, again, the spring equinox or autumn equinox for the Southern Hemisphere readings are now booking, and that is a fantastic way for you to have a full personal reading that really gets into the dirt of looking over the prior season and stepping into the new season where we have turned over the fields, we have done the weeding, and we're looking at what seeds of potential we're planting and how best to cultivate them as we step into the new season. So then consider perhaps having for yourself a seasonal equinox reading. All right, let's finish out our messages for this week with our grandmother moon coming in. All right, to finish off our messages for this week, we have a beautiful message of unity coming in from Grandmother Moon, from the Song of the Grandmothers. Grandmother Moon comes from sort of this periwinkle section of the oracle, which includes amongst the moon, Grandmother Brook, Grandmother Elephant, Grandmother Emperor Penguin, Grandmother Firefly, Grandmother Hermit Crab, Grandmother Hummingbird, Grandmother Iris, Grandmother Linden, Grandmother Pear, and Grandmother Turtle. And they are all about harmony. So harmony grandmothers show us how to maintain center even when engaging with people and ideas outside of ourselves. It's almost like we talked about some energetic weather rolling through this week that is just right in that zone. So, yes, when you are whole and solid and steady within yourself, no matter what phase, whatever's going on around you, that is where your power lies. So the message coming in from Grandmother Moon says, inside a ring of the various moon phases, Grandmother Moon is whole. She can exist as all, one or none of them at any given time, without losing sight of herself as intact. The longing her appearance inspires in us is a clarion call to see and embrace our matching birthright of wholeness. Each of us contains multitudes, always in flux. The face you show to the world may appear different in any given moment. Grandmother Moon encourages accepting the ebb and flow of her tidal force inside the waters of your body. No matter what, you are always an evolving, ever-changing, dynamic being. She also counsels unity of the divine spectrum of masculine and feminine energies each of us hold. Integration results when you reflect in your outward expression the currency of your inner spark, drive, champion, defender, and protector, and in so doing, foster a world where all feel loved, valued, connected, nourished, and welcomed. From this place of unity, you can reach for the moon and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Moreover, if you have an imagining that feels impossible, Grandmother Moon may be visiting to specifically encourage you. Don't give up on manifesting it in the external world. And she says, follow my evolution in the sky each month to understand yourself more completely, my darling. Allow the cycles to unfold instinctively inside of you too. You are liquid and changeable on purpose, that you might come to know yourself as always whole. It's so beautiful. That's such a lovely series of messages that are just so on point with what we've been tapping into here and the energy that we have all brought together collectively to move into this next week. So I hope you're feeling that and recognize that no matter what phase you see outside of you in a given moment, does not take away from your wholeness and from all of those beautiful expressions of your inner spark, drive, champion, defender, and protector. I love that because again, whatever is meant for me will never pass me by. And again, to each time and season, a phase, a stage as we move through. So if it is not time, it is not time. I'm not going to force it. I'm going to flow. And I'm going to allow it to unfold for me, knowing that I am always whole and always worthy. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Those are some big and powerful messages we got, and we're going to keep rolling into it this week with the music and marching to the beat. So thank you all so much for bringing your beautiful energy here. And once again, if you would like a personal card pull this week, reach out, let me know, and we'll tune in just for you. Check out the seasonal offerings I have, and I look forward to connecting with you as we continue to march to the beat. Much love and many blessings. Take good care.